Question. Did you know that right here in Atlanta, Georgia, there is a black-owned studio monitor manufacturing company? Yo, what's going on, people? It's your man Dale Mixed It, and yeah, right here in ATL, there is a black-owned speaker manufacturing company. Crazy, right? I know, that's insane. I was just thinking like sometime last year that I wish there was a black-owned company, you know, right around when all the stuff was going crazy and we had all this stuff happen. I was like, man, it'd be really dope. We had a black-owned speaker manufacturing company, and lo and behold, bloop, it just pops up out of nowhere. SAS Acoustic Design Firm, black-owned, right here, Rafael Capone. And crazy enough, I actually know people that know him. So me and him got together and met, and I've got a pair of the brand new SA25m8. Now, the ones I have here are actually a prototype, so they haven't even started production of this. And I'm gonna be testing these things out. They were gracious enough to send them to me to allow me to check them out for a few days and give them my thoughts and my review, and ultimately to help tell you guys about these things, because this company needs to be blown up. Now, I've listened to the original SA25Ms, which are the bigger brother to these right here, and they sounded great. I heard them at their facility and they sounded amazing. These share a lot of the same characteristics with those. The biggest thing is just they're smaller, you know? So if you got a smaller room like I have, then these will probably be a better fit for you. So before we get into testing them out and listening to things and you know, all that kind of stuff, let me give you some specs about these monitors so you can just kind of just know what's up. Right off the bat, four-way. This is a four-way monitor, so you don't need a subwoofer when you have these. And there's two 8-inch subwoofers built into these monitors, so no need for a sub. So there's that. Then the woofers, there are two 5.25-inch Kevlar cone woofers. So again, we got the same high-end stuff that you got on all the big names. You know them. I'm not even gonna say them. The mid-range is a 4-inch mid-range cone, and then you have a AMT tweeter. So, you know, high-end stuff right there. That's the good stuff. The subwoofer amplifiers, we're looking at 300 watts on each one of those, and then the woofers are 300 watts a piece. The mid-range is 50 watts, and the tweeter is 40 watts. So, you know, got some power there. You know, really strong. Now, this is where it gets really crazy. The frequency response for these monitors is 30 hertz to 40K. I mean, that's crazy, right? And then 30. As a mixing engineer, I'm not dealing with 30, even on film stuff. Like the LFE, maybe sometimes I'll hit down that low, but we're not dealing with that because nobody can hear that. And then when you think about people watching this back at home, they don't have systems that can reproduce that. But as far as mixing concerned, it's kind of nice to have a speaker that can go down that far. And again, this is the speaker that's doing that. It's not having an additional sub like I currently have in my room. The speaker already has a subwoofer in it. Crazy. Oh man. So the maximum SPL we have is 117 dB, and then the crossover, we got a crossover at 100 hertz, 800 hertz, and then 4K. So really nice there. Looking at their graph here, they sent me a chart of the frequency response chart, and I mean, it's flat, man. I mean, there's a couple of, you know, ups there, but I mean, it's really about as flat as you're possibly gonna get, really, when you think about speakers and how they react to the space that they're in. You don't get no flatter than that. And then there's a dip at about 50 going down, which is typical. You would expect that there to be a dip down that low, but to be pretty much flat consistently across the audible spectrum, that's bananas, man. That's insane. I'm so excited about getting these things plugged in and testing them out. Now, what I'm not excited about is I gotta take my dynes down. Now, that's huge, man. I spent a lot of time, as most of us do, getting my room set up and measuring and analysis. I use SonarWorks to do the last bit of acoustical EQing kind of stuff in my room to take care of anything additional that I wasn't able to accomplish with the acoustical treatment on the walls. So I'm gonna actually test these out without SonarWorks. My first test is gonna initially just be plugging these bad boys in, throwing up some mixes that I've done. I'm gonna test it out that way first, And then I'll go through the process of breaking out the microphone and measuring and doing the whole SonarWorks setup thing and seeing if there's an improvement on the sound there. But 4-way, flat frequency response, yeah, man, about to get these things plugged in, test them out. And what else can I say, man? It's a black-owned speaker company. They look good, man. Their motto is, in a sea of black or white monitors, we give you color. Color. Red monitors, color, black, you know. So yeah, let's plug them up. Let's test them out. Let's see what they sound like. Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm sitting here taking pictures and getting some B-roll footage of the monitors, and I forgot to mention that if you notice right here, there's some holes, and there's 2 more at the bottom on both sides, and it's actually designed to be mounted horizontally or vertically. So they do give you that option to where you can mount these however you want to. If you've got a flat top for a console or something like that, and you want to do it horizontally, perfectly fine. If you want to do vertically, perfectly fine. All you have to do is put the feet on there for the horizontal, and then depending on your configuration, you'll have to rotate the tweeter. I'm sure if you've ever dealt with 4-way monitors or horizontal, vertical monitors before, you've seen that to where you have to actually modify the tweeter to get it to sit right according to where your ears are for proper listening. But yeah, just thought I'd let y'all know that. All right, back to it. As you saw, my room is definitely not optimized for switching speakers out. But I got them up. I've been listening to them for a good little minute now. Yeah. I don't want to say anything just yet. I mean, I'm still listening, and I'm you know, tweaking some of the settings on the monitors. One thing I could tell you, because I have a prototype, I can't disable the sub, so I can't test that out to see what it is with and without the bass. What I can say is I've spent so much time with a separate subwoofer that is not flat. I'm very aware that my sub isn't flat, and part of that's because I mix film, so my sub actually needs to be boosted for that type of work. And then when I flip over to music, I have some things I do to make sure that I'm not killing myself with the bass. So I'm getting used to playback with a subwoofer that's flat. Listening to the frequencies that it's giving me, it is going down there for sure. It is hitting those low frequencies as expected. It's not as punchy down there as I was hoping for it to be. And that part will be, it's an 8-inch sub, so it's not the 10-inch like the SA25. This is the SA25m8, so the subwoofer is a little bit smaller, and the subwoofer I have in my studio is a 10. So hitting some of those really low ends is not hitting as hard. Now, let me go back on that statement a little bit, because it varies per record. Some records are just knocking just like it's supposed to be. Other records aren't, and that's more or less because there are certain things in some records that I know that are there that I'm listening for that not everybody necessarily will be listening for specifically. And then because my subwoofer is boosted, it's gonna punch out some of those lower end notes automatically. So I'm not putting that down as a negative or anything. That's just something that I've noticed in my usage today. Like just first preliminary listen, just, you know, going through it. I've listened to records that are produced that I know very well. I'm listening to mixes and masters from stuff that I've done, and just, you know, putting it through its paces. I haven't had a chance to look at any films or anything like that, so I'll probably do that pretty soon here. But yeah, man, I'm just listening. Unfortunately, you can't listen to what I'm listening to because obviously copyrights, and we don't want my video to get flagged. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep listening here and chiming in as I see fit. So y'all just stay tuned. Let me also say, right now I'm listening to them without doing the SonarWorks calibration. So I have SonarWorks completely off. I'm just listening to the monitors as is. All I did was I did hit the the acoustic, the room acoustic switch to take out some of the lows, 800 and below, I think it is, that is taking out, and it's dropping those down by -2 is the setting that I have it on, just because, again, my room is small. The monitors are close to the walls here, so I did do that just to help alleviate some extra low-end buildup and to make it punch a little bit more. So one thing I am noticing right now, just listening, my drums are punching. Like listening to some drums, live drums, the drums are definitely hitting and punching very, very, very nicely. I can definitely say that I'm hearing the drums, the attack and everything, and punch the way I would expect it to. So that's really nice to say. I will be doing another listen with SonarWorks calibrated just to see if that changes anything on the monitors. But yeah, man, still listening. Okay, so I'm already really sensitive to lip smacks and ticks and things like that, because doing dialogue with films, you just listen to that stuff all day long and you just hear all this little lip smacking, and it's annoying. I took out a lot of that, and I do when I mix records, but I'm listening to something recently that I mixed, and I hear lip smacks that I did not remove coming out of these monitors. So that tells me that these are giving me a little bit more detail than I'm used to having. And again, I have to preference everything I'm saying with, one, these are prototypes. Two, the monitors that I was using previously, while they're not at the super high end of monitors, the Dynaudio BM5As are definitely in that pro mid level. And if you go back to when those first came out, because they're definitely getting a little up there in age, they were not cheap. Those were about $799 per monitor, I believe, if I'm correct. So, you know, nice little price tag for those monitors for sure. And they are very detailed and very mid-range. The mid-range in those is very strong. That's one thing I like about them. So these monitors are giving me a lot of detail, additional detail, I would say. I've already had the detail, but these are giving me a little bit additional detail. Is it wowing me? I have to be honest and say right now, preliminary first listen, non-SonarWorks, I'm not floored. Okay, so the more I listen, the more I hear. The depth that I talked about a little bit earlier. I'm hearing my records the way I mix them. So when I mix and I envision a stage. So I sit the drums a little bit further back than some people do. I pan things around and I get the stage set, and that's how I mix. I'm hearing my mix that way, which is crazy, because in my mind I see the stage and I do my panning and reverbs and stuff like that to according to that, but I've never really heard it that way. Like, I'm literally hearing the drums back. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're back in the mix. Like, they sound like, okay, the stage is here, drums are there, singers are up. It's crazy what I'm hearing. I'm also hearing reverb tails more defined and delays. I'm heavy on delays, and I'm hearing all of them almost to the point to where I might honestly be a little bit too heavy on some of my delays. They're poking out a little bit, or they're lingering a little bit longer than I might have originally intended for them to, and that's just a result of I didn't hear them before. Like, I didn't hear it that way on my other speakers. So the clarity is there, the depth is there. Again, the more I listen, the more I hear, and I'm becoming more and more impressed as time goes. I'm actually can't wait to actually do the SonarWorks analysis, because I really want to see how that helps, because I know I'm missing a couple panels over here, and you know, my room's not great. It's definitely not a great room, but I know the room and I know how to mix in the room, and that's what matters ultimately. So, okay. I just had the brightest idea. I can't believe I didn't think about this earlier. I still have a pair of Dynaudios behind me because I mixed it surround. Okay, so the low end is there. When I go to the Dyne Audios without my sub, and then I switch back to the SA25m8s, the lows are definitely there. It is dropping down. Now, the Dynes get down there. They are spec'd to go about 58, so I can hear the low, and I can feel the low. But when I go to these bad boys, it's smacking. Like it's there. It's hitting me in the chest. Like I'm feeling it. So the 10 inches would really kill it. And I've heard those over at their studio again. I didn't have those here, but over at their studio, I've heard them. And those things knock. Size-wise, these feel better in my room. I would want to feel that kick just a little bit more. But yeah, it's there. So it's not, they're not fluffing, they're not lying to us. Those dual subwoofers on here definitely are kicking, and it's evident, and I gotta listen again. Now I gotta go back and do everything I did previously and start listening all over again, because I completely forgot that I had the Dyne Audios back there. Come on, man. Why y'all didn't tell me I had speakers behind me? I'm even looking at them in the camera. Jeez. All right, back to it. Well, as you can see, the monitors are gone. And it's bittersweet for sure. Not even bittersweet. Why am I saying bittersweet? It's bitter. Like I didn't want them to go. I actually wanted to keep them. They were nice. I was just getting to really dialing in the sound of them and how they respond to frequencies and things like that. So I was really enjoying that experience, and it's definitely made me want to buy a pair. And actually, kind of piggybacking on what I was saying earlier about how the lows don't necessarily hit in a sense of like extra punch or exaggerated lows. I think, you know, I thought the 8-inch woofer would be more suitable for this room, but now after having them for a little while, I think the bigger SA25Ms with the 10-inch woofer would be okay in here. I don't think it'll be too much, and I think that 10-inch woofer would give me that extra oomph that I kind of want to hear in the low end. But again, even without that, the monitors sound good. They're balanced, you can hear everything, and again, that depth and that clarity that I mentioned earlier, that's huge. Again, we're talking about minute details, especially once you get into this higher end realm of monitors. But that extra depth and hearing my mixes, like I said, with the drums being in the back the way that I normally mix them, I really like that. The stereo imaging was fine. I didn't expect that to be off, and really that doesn't come from monitors. That comes from your other stuff, your interface and all that kind of stuff. So I really wasn't paying attention to stereo imaging, because stereo imaging is fine in my room. So that's not an issue. So just to again, summarizing, SA25m8 from SAS Acoustic design firm, yeah, definitely jump on them, and pay attention to their page. They actually have regular two-ways coming out later this year. So the SA25Ms and SA25m8s, which I just had, those are 4-way monitors. And they also are going to be coming out with some 5-inch, some 7-inch, and some 8-inch two-way monitors. And those are going to be definitely more modestly priced, especially if you're coming from like your HS8s and that lineup of speakers. They're going to have some that are priced in that realm. And so definitely stay tuned for that coming from this company. That's going to, I think those are going to be a huge hit for sure, because a lot of people are in that price bracket. I don't know what else to say. This your man Dell Mixed It. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please think about doing so. Hit the like button for this video if you like this content. And of course, if you're not following me on all the social medias, please do so. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.